So today I'm driving rental car number 43. This is the 2017 Nissan Sentra SV. In the last year or so, I've only driven the Maxima. I don't really have a lot of experience with the Sentra, so I decided to jump online and check out Nissan's website just to learn a little bit more about this car. I'm not going to bore you with all the details. I just want to mention that the SV is one step up from the base model and that there are a ton of other different configurations that you can buy. I mean, look at all these. You get the SR, the SR Midnight Edition, the SR Turbo Edition, all the way down until you get to the Nismo, which is the most expensive configuration of this vehicle. Sorry for the little tangent. What I really want to show you is that the SV costs about $18,800. And I think that's important to keep in mind before we move forward. Remember, this car is under $20,000. It's a small, compact car, and it has a 4-cylinder engine. So it is definitely not like some of the higher-end luxury sedans that I've been driving lately. Alright, now that we have our expectations sort of in check, let's jump inside and take a look. The SV does come standard with keyless entry. That means you can just walk up to the door, press this little button on the handle, and enter the vehicle without taking the key fob out of your pocket. So that's great. Unfortunately, the SV doesn't come with electronically controlled seats, so you do get these old-fashioned levers for both the passenger and driver to configure the seat to your liking. Moving inside the vehicle, I think you'll agree with me that this is a pretty clean, Spartan-looking interior. There's not a lot of buttons scattered throughout the vehicle. In my opinion, it feels like everything is in the right place. The key fob is the same. It's designed really nicely with 4 major buttons: lock, unlock, opening the trunk, and panic. It's a little light for my taste, but everything feels really nice to the touch. So, no standard key. You do get a push-button start that's located right here to the right of the steering wheel, and I kind of like that this illuminates and turns red when the vehicle is on. Moving over to the steering wheel, Nissan likes to make real thick steering wheels, which I really like. It feels like a truck. The buttons on here are very nice, especially for this price point. My only criticism is that the cruise control is a little switch, which I'm not a fan of. But I'm just nitpicking here. Above the steering wheel, you get a really nice gauge cluster. I like how big these dials are, and I really like how big this center display is. Before I geek out about this screen, I just want to zoom in and show you the miles that were driven on this car. When I picked it up, it only had 7 miles on it, which was pretty awesome. That meant that throughout the car, there were these little stickies that I got to peel off super satisfyingly while I was driving this car. But back to the digital display. Nissan definitely has the best digital displays in their gauge clusters that I've seen. The colors are bright and easy to see, the menus are super easy to navigate, and they have little animations to show you exactly what's going on with the vehicle. All in all, it's just a really nice screen. Unfortunately, the center console displays is not as nice. The colors here are not as bright and crisp. This is not a touchscreen, so you do have to use the buttons on the left and right side of the screen to navigate through all the features. And speaking of features, they're a little sparse. There's really nothing fun to play with here. If all you're looking for is to maybe play a CD or maybe stream something from your phone, it works great. But if you're looking for the most high-tech and nicest screen out there, you're definitely going to be disappointed. Shifting your gaze a little bit lower, these are where the climate controls are located. They're okay. You get nice dials to control the fan, the temperature, and you have big buttons to control everything else that's important. But I don't know, I'm a little disappointed here. I like having a digital display to tell me exactly what temperature the car is, and I like bright lights on my climate controls so that I can find exactly what I need at night, and Nissan just didn't put that in the Sentra. And then directly below the climate controls, there's this little cutout. I'm guessing it was where the ashtray used to be. It's not real useful. I wasn't able to store my cell phone there, but you do have a nice DC outlet right here that you can plug into, which is a good feature to have. Shifting back a little bit more, you have the gear shift. It's a little bit clunky, but not the worst I've ever seen. It is a nice size, so it does feel pretty good in the hand. You also get this nice cutout right here, which I found perfect for my cell phone. 2 nice cup holders, and then a normal parking brake right here in the center. The center armrest is a little bit smaller than I've seen. It doesn't slide forward for comfort, but it is a pretty decent size. It's pretty deep, so you can get quite a bit of things in here. And there's also a USB and audio out port that you can use. And then shifting your gaze up, you do get a nice sunglass holder up here. It's got some padding, pretty nice. You get 2 lights to illuminate the cabin. They're not great though. They're little LEDs and they don't really light things up at night, so I was a little disappointed with that. Thankfully, the glove box is a pretty decent size. A lot of the sedans I've been driving lately have really tiny glove boxes, so it's nice to see that Nissan still keeps it pretty large here. Alright, so let's jump in the back seat and take a look. There's not a whole lot back here, but there are a couple of positive things that we can talk about. First off, it's a pretty decent size. I was able to sit here very comfortably and didn't feel squished. I'm about 6 feet tall and I had plenty of legroom, even with that passenger seat pushed back pretty far. The center armrest is really nice. 2 cup holders here, and it actually sits a little bit high up so you can rest your elbow on it pretty comfortably. And then on the back of the center armrest for the front passengers, you do get 2 small cutouts. They're not really big enough for a cell phone, so I'm not sure what you could store here, but at least there's something. So that's the back seat. Let's jump back out of the car and take a look at the trunk space. Now remember, this is a compact car, so you're not going to get a huge trunk. And those wheel wells that you can see are infringing on the space quite a bit. For normal day-to-day use, I think this is plenty of space. Those back seats also do fold down, so you can make the trunk space even bigger. And then underneath the floor, you do get a small spare tire. Just want to note there's some extra space around it, so I think you could probably store some tools down there fairly easily. Alright, moving around to the passenger side of the vehicle, I just want to mention that the fuel cap is actually on the passenger side of the vehicle. I really don't like this, probably because all of my own personal vehicles have always had the fuel cap on the driver's side, so take my criticism with a grain of salt. The Sentra also has the old-fashioned twist-off fuel cap, which most of the other major car manufacturers have completely removed. So this is the 2017 Ford Edge Titanium. You'll notice no twist-off cap. This is something that is super convenient to have, and I really hope that Nissan adds to all its vehicles in the near future. Alright, so we've talked about most of the major features of this car. Before we take it out actually for a drive, I just want to talk about safety for a second. I have 2 small kids, so safety is really a big important thing for me. And I've learned lately that there are 2 major organizations that test cars for safety in the US. The first one is the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, and the second one is the Insurance Institute on Highway Safety. For every car I review, I go to both websites and I check the cars out. And typically I try and work that information into the review, but I thought this time it would just be kind of fun just to show you what the websites actually say. What you're looking at right now is the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration's website. There's 4 main categories, and the Sentra has done pretty well. Overall safety is given a 4 out of 5. Frontal crash safety, 4 out of 5. Side crash safety, 5 out of 5. And rollover is a 4 out of 5. But honestly, most of the new cars that I've reviewed typically get either 4s or 5s in every single category from the NHTSA. The second website I like to look at is the Insurance Institute on Highway Safety. Their website is a little bit more comprehensive. They give scores ranging from poor to good, so the 4 categories are good, acceptable, marginal, and poor. And the Sentra has gotten good scores for everything except for headlights, where they actually got a poor score. I thought that was pretty interesting, because I drove the Sentra at night and I didn't have any problems with the headlights, but I do most of my driving in the city, so I guess if you took this way out into the country, there might be an issue. Alright, so that's the 2 major websites and a little bit of talk about safety. Let's talk about actually driving this car. I typically really like driving Nissans. They feel real tight to me. They go around corners really nicely. Even though this car only has a 4-cylinder engine, it still accelerates really well. I was able to keep up with traffic without any problems. Probably did about 120 to 150 miles on the interstate on this car, and it was super comfortable the whole way through. So all in all, for a $20,000 car, actually $18,000 car, this drives extremely, extremely well. Alright, so that's it. That's the 2017 Nissan Sentra SV. After spending about 2 days with this car and driving it well over 160 miles, I'm giving this one 3 stars. This is a great compact sedan. And there is absolutely nothing wrong with this car. If you're a big fan of Nissan, I think you're going to love the Sentra SV. But for me, if I'm going to spend about $18,000 on a brand new car, I want some updated tech features and I want a fresher look. So for me, this is a 3-star car, but maybe you feel differently. If you do, please tell me what you think in the comments below. Otherwise, thank you so much for watching, and I hope you'll join me next time when I review my 44th rental car.